we have FWD tests that were made on flexible pavement and we want to include temperature adjustment factors for the calculated moduli of the asphalt layer before starting the batch analysis process that we saw previously, that is initiated by using this option here, we must select one of these two options, either the Bell's temperature correction method or the UK temperature correction method. Let's say that we want to select the Bell's temperature correction method. We have to enable it first by checking it, and then we have to introduce the three variables that are part of the method, such as previous day average temperature. So this is the average temperature on a 24-hour basis corresponding to the day before the FWD tests were made. Reference temperature. So this is the temperature to which we want to shift our calculated moduli, asphalt moduli, that that you would like to adjust from the temperature that they were during the testing to a given reference temperature. And then we have the last parameter that is included in this method, which is the target asphalt depth. This target asphalt depth corresponds to approximately 1/3 of the thickness of the total thickness of asphalt layers. So if you recall, this sample file and this construction data that I am using right now corresponds to the first sample file that we used in previous videos, and we have approximately uh, 20 centimeters of asphalt layer at the surface. So the 20 centimeters divided by 3, it will correspond to, in this case, it will correspond to 66.66 millimeters, because the units that are used for this method are temperatures in Celsius and thickness of the asphalt target depth in millimeters. Another option that we can consider is to automatically calculate critical strains for the calculated layer stiffnesses. So if we check this option, we have to select the load. So let's say, for example, the 80 kilonewton equivalent standard axle, and we are going to have to define a layer for which we want to calculate the horizontal strains for. So in this case, the asphalt concrete layer is layer number 1, the layer at the surface. So we are going to use layer number 1 and press enter. And now with these two options selected, either the Bell's temperature correction, and the critical strains, when we launch the batch analysis process, once again follows the same exact procedure. So it starts calculating station by station, and the color of the circle that represents the station goes from orange to green. And then when everything is green, it automatically goes to the summary table. Here it is. And you notice that now we have exactly the same table that we saw before, but now we have one extra parameter here, which is the 8F parameter. 8F stands for asphalt temperature adjustment factor. And how does this work? So the layer at the surface in this table, the layer at the surface in the pavement that we are using, is the surface is this, the surface layer, and it's the second layer above the subgrade, so it corresponds to layer number 2. So these moduli that are in this column here correspond to the instantaneous moduli, the moduli the back calculated moduli that correspond to that pavement structure with the temperatures and with the temperature that was existing in the day the tests were made, and with its corresponding effect on the stiffness of the asphalt concrete layer. But we want to shift this. We want to shift this instantaneous stiffness to the corresponding stiffness at the reference temperature, and this is how the asphalt the ATAF parameter enters, because in order to obtain the adjusted um, asphalt concrete stiffness, what we need to do is multiply this value that corresponds to the moduli of the asphalt layer by this factor, and the resulting number will be the back calculated moduli at the reference temperature. So this value here corresponds to the exact moment the tests were made, and this value multiplied by this ATF factor here will correspond to the exact same parameter, asphalt stiffness, but instead of being at the temperature at which the tests were made, shifted to the reference temperature. If we save this information to Excel file by using batch analysis save results to file, like we saw before, we'll get this results here that contain exactly the same information that we saw in the app's main window. So here it is, the ATF factor, and if we continue to scroll to the end horizontally, we have now these two extra columns that were not here and that are only here now because we checked the critical strains option. But in these columns, depth will select the automatically selects the critical strain, the horizontal strain in the asphalt layer that we select, so that the critical strain is this one in this particular point, and it also determines the critical subgrade strain or microstrain. So it is very easy to obtain this information. It's just a question of, before initiating the batch analysis process with this option, making sure to select the temperature correction method for for the for the asphalt stiffness, and to select the critical strains as well. For the UK temperature correction, it's exactly the same thing. Before initiating the batch analysis process, we need to check this option here. And in the UK asphalt temperature adjustment method, there's only one variable, which is the previous day average temperature that we have